Hello, good morning, friends.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
sir.
Good morning, sir. Sir, good morning. Very good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, all of you. Now
Good
we will
morning,
start
sir.
the. Good morning, child. Good morning. We will complete the remaining 3 poems today, so that the poetry section will be over. And from prose, play Nagamandala was over. So we will start with Aurobindo's The Golden Light. The Golden Light. Yesterday we finished the 3 poems. Today we will finish 3 poems. The Golden Light. What is this golden light? Am I audible to you? This question I will ask you. I will only trouble you with this question. That's all, because I will not, don't get frustrated, don't get angry with me. I will ask this question again and again. Now and then, not again and again. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you. So today we are going to we'll discuss the poem Sri Aurobindo's The Golden Light. What a lovely poem it is. Dear friends, that is why Indian writing in English is superior to other writings. I may be prejudiced if I make such a statement. I may be prejudiced if I make such a statement that Indian writing is superior to other kinds of writings. For example, because Indian writing uh, discovers human beings, rediscovers human nature. Indian writing in English rediscovers human nature. That is the beauty of Indian writing. It rediscovers human nature. And look at this. Sri Aurobindo talks about this poem, very short poem. All the 3 poems today we have all very short poems. Sri Aurobindo's poem, Pardana, Sri Aurobindo's poem, the Golden Light. Next, I will discuss Sita by Torudat. Next, I will discuss Pardhanashin by Sarojini Naidu. All 3 poems will be over in 1 hour. That's all. Very simple. You can understand Indian writing in English also very easily, because it is in our own fabric. It is in our own nature. That's why we understand Indian writing in English. When you do research also, if you do research in Indian writing in English, you will understand very easily, because you are familiar with the traditions, you are familiar with the customs. You need not. Suppose if you are doing research in American literature, I am not against American literature. I am not against African literature. What I am trying to tell is, comparatively, it is easier to do research in Indian writing in English. I may be prejudiced. You may call me a prejudiced man, doesn't matter. But Indian writing in English, if you do research in Indian writing in English, you will understand it very easily, because you are familiar with Indian ethos, Indian milieu, Indian environment, Indian social customs, Indian social traditions. That's why the poetry also you will understand very easily. All these 3 poems you will understand in half an hour. In a jiffy, you will understand. It's a Mickey Mouse task for you to understand these 3 poems. First poem I will discuss is Sri Aurobindo's Golden Light. Friends, this Golden Light is a poem written by Sri Aurobindo, and very simple it is. Look, the illumination, the inspiration of God makes your mind active. The inspiration and the illumination of God makes your limbs active. The illumination and the inspiration of God makes your legs, makes your feet move fast. Whatever there is inspiration, when we pray to God early in the morning, we pray to God, oh God, make me, whatever may be the God. It is not necessarily Hindu gods. It can be a Christian, it can be Jesus, it can be Allah, it can be anybody from Hindu gods. Sri Krishna, Rama, Lakshmi Nrsimha Swami, anybody you can pray. What do you pray? To activate you. To activate you. That is the prayer that you give. So the golden light, when you pray to God, God gives you what? He doesn't appear before you. He gives you golden light. And that golden light activates your mind, the gray area. Mind is called the gray area. Next, it activates your body. The whole of your body is activated. It rejuvenates. It refuels. The body rejuvenates. The body refuels. The mind gets activated. So that is the power of the golden light. The very title is golden light. It is not merely when do you have light? When there is darkness. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Golden light. It is not merely light. When do you want light? When there is darkness, you want light. When do you want? That is not mere light. It is not tube light. It is not for 300 volts light. It is golden light. The God's grace, the benevolence of God's grace. You are seeking for. Sri Aurobindo is a revolutionary turned saint. In the beginning, he was a revolutionary. Later, he turned to be a saint. So, golden light is seeking the light of God, seeking the light of God to activate your body, to energize your body, to rejuvenate your body, to refuel your body, to illuminate your body, illuminate, to give light to your body, because the whole of your body is dark. We want salvation. We want wisdom, not intellectuality. Intellectuality, you get it from textbooks. But God's blessings, God makes us wise. God gives us the idea that this is eternity. Eternity, not ephemeral. Opposite of eternal is ephemeral. Ephemeral is temporary. Eternal is permanent. So here, Sri Aurobindo is a famous Indian poet and also a dramatist. He is a revolutionary turned saint. In the beginning, he was a revolutionary. Later, he turned to become a saint. In this poem, the name of the poem is The Golden Light. It is written by Sri Aurobindo. You have got Sri Aurobindo Ashramam at Pondicherry also. Sri Aurobindo Ashramam at Pondicherry also you have. Sri Aurobindo's famous magnum opus is Savitri. Savitri is the magnum opus of Sri Aurobindo. So Sri Aurobindo talks about here in this poem, oh God, give me the divine light. First, let the light fall on my mind. My mind becomes activated. Then it falls on the other parts of the body. And finally, it falls on the feet. When the divine light, when the golden light here means the divine light. The divine light means the God's light. Why are you seeking light? Because there is darkness in us. We are all ignorant. We are after mechanical life. We are after materialistic life. This materialistic life, we want the God's grace to know what we are, to know our real nature of the real existence. So here, Sri Aurobindo is seeking the golden light of God. Simple terms. Sri Aurobindo is seeking the golden light of God. Golden light means the divine light. Why is he seeking divine light? Because there is a darkness in us. Let the darkness be removed. Asatoma sargamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. We have this expression. Remove the darkness, remove the ignorance. That is the basis perhaps for this poem. Oh God, remove ignorance from me. Remove darkness from me. Make me a real man. So golden light, he is seeking golden light. I'll read the poem. Listen to me, page number 48. What is the page number?
48.
48, sir.
48.
Yeah. What is the name of the poem?
Golden light.
The golden light.
Golden light
Golden light.
written by Sri Aurobindo.
Aurobindo.
Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo is a revolutionary turned poet. Now listen. Golden light means the divine light. Divine light is for illumination, re-energizing, rejuvenating, refueling. You want, whenever you are in troubles, whenever you are in ignorance also, you seek the blessings of God. What is the blessings of God? Give me good thoughts. Give me good thoughts. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. The famous Gayatri Mantra. The famous Gayatri Mantra tells this. Oh God, give me good thoughts. If you get good thoughts, what more you require? Wealth is not required. Good thoughts are required. When we go to temple, what do we pray? We pray for the divine grace. Divine grace means what? Benevolence of God. Benevolence of God, it means what? To make us think right, to put us on the right track. That is what we pray for God. We don't pray for God only for wealth. We don't pray for God only to pass in the exam, only to quench our materialistic needs. We pray God to put us on the right track. We pray God to give us divine light because we are dark. We are dark means we are ignorant. We are ignorant because we are caught in this whirlpool of the materialistic world. We are caught in this whirlpool of the materialistic world. We are after this, after gold, after love for lucre. We are after frigidaires. We are after televisions. We are after apartments. Nothing wrong in having all these, but greediness. Therefore, we pray to God. Sri Aurobindo also, here in this poem, seeks the divine light, the golden light. Light he wants because he is dark. Dark means ignorance. I told everything. Introduction is very important, dear students. For anything, if you are a teacher in this class, are there teachers in this class?
Yes, sir.
If you are a teacher
Yes,
in this, if you are a teacher in this class, always give introduction perfectly. If you give introduction perfectly, half the job is done. Only introduction should be given perfectly. If the introduction is given perfectly, students will understand, they will be on the right track. Otherwise, telling the whole poem without telling the moot point, the main point, it misses. So Sri Aurobindo, the revolutionary turned poet who has written Savitri, the magnum opus, in this poem, the divine light wants that light from God. He is seeking light from God. He is seeking the divine light from God for illumination. If the light falls on mind, it activates mind. If the whole of the body, finally in the last stanza, the light will fall on the feet. When the light will fall on the feet, the whole of the ground becomes God's place. He can move anywhere. That is the influence of God. That is the influence of God. The influence of God, nobody can escape. That is the beauty of the influence of God. Now I'll read the poem. The golden light came down into my brain. First it comes to brain. And the grey rooms of mind, sun-touched, became a bright reply to wisdom's occult plane, a calm illumination and flame. First, he is seeking the golden light on brain. When it falls on brain, it becomes calm. The brain becomes calm, wisdom, full of wisdom, and illumination, calm illumination, and a flame. There is a flame. Suddenly, when the golden light, first of all, he wants the golden light to fall on the brain. When it falls on the brain, he gets wisdom. He gets calm illumination and flame. Flame means is a symbol of removing darkness, removing ignorance. That is the power of the golden light. When it falls on the mind, it gives calm illumination and a flame. Next, the golden light came down into my throat. Now after brain, it comes to throat. First it comes where?
Brain.
When it comes to brain, what happens?
So it becomes calm illumination, sir, and flames.
Flame means what?
Symbol of darkness.
Removing darkness.
Removing darkness.
Removing ignorance.
Removing ignorance, removing darkness. That is the power. What is he seeking for? Aurobindo is seeking for in this poem.
Golden light, illumination from God, wisdom from God.
Golden light or divine light? Very good,
Divine
man.
light.
Divine
Divine
light.
light, seeking wisdom.
Yeah, seeking wisdom because it rejuvenates. First, when it falls on the brain, it gives calm illumination, and calm illumination, not disturbed illumination. That is the power of God. God never disturbs. God gives peace of mind. That is a calm illumination and flame. The golden light came into my throat, and all my speech is now a true divine, wonderful, tune divine. Look, when it came on mind, it became calm illumination and a flame. Flame is an example of remover of darkness. That is the power of the golden light. First, it falls on brain, next throat. When it falls on throat, the voice becomes divine. That is the power of golden light. That is the power of God's power. Golden light, the divine light. It is not mere tube light. If you on and off, switch off and switch on tube light, that is different. But he is not talking of tube light. He is not talking of light, mere light. He is talking of golden light. Golden light here means divine light. I underline divine light, divine light, divine light, God's light, God's touch. One God, what do you want at the end of the day? God's touch. Why people go to Kashi towards the end of their life? Because they want to be in the lap of Mother Parvati and in the lap of Shiva and die in Kashi. Why people go to Kashi towards the end of their death? They go to Kashi, Benares, Varanasi, because so that they will reach the heavenly abode. They want to be in the presence of God. When you are in the presence of God, what more you need? When God's golden light is on you, what more you want? Everything you get. In this world, money alone will not save us. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. Neither money pays, nor name, nor fame. Neither money pays, nor name, nor fame. It is the character alone that can cleave through the adamantine walls of difficulties. Character, when do you get character? When you have the blessings of God, when you have the golden light of God. The golden light first falls on mind, next throat. When it falls on mind, a calm illumination and flame. When it falls on throat, what happens? His speech becomes divine. My God. You cannot utter ugly words. When golden light falls on the throat, you cannot blame others. You cannot involve in gossip. That is the power of God. Sri Aurobindo is seeking golden light for a purpose. When the golden light falls on throat, it is not mere gossip. The whole of your voice becomes tuned divine tune. Slowly it is falling. Look, first it fell on mind. Next it fell on throat. A paean song means a joyous song of thee, my single note. Oh God, when your divine light falls on my throat, my whole voice becomes divine. And I sing a joyous song. Paean song means joyous song. That my single note means one prayer, one utterance, one verse, V-E-R-S-E verse. One verse becomes divine. When you are in contact with God, you are bound to become divine. This is the statement. When you are in contact with God, you are bound to become divine. If the golden light falls on mind, it becomes calm, it gives calm illumination and flame. Flame, because flame has got a lot of symbolic meaning. This poem has got symbolic meaning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When it falls on throat. When it falls on throat, the whole is of his voice becomes, the whole of his voice becomes tune divine, a paean song of thee, my single note. The words are drunk with the immortal wine. Beautiful. The words that when the golden light falls on his throat, his voice becomes divine, and the words are become immortal. And the words are become immortal wine. Immortal wine, deathless. Deathless. The words that we speak carelessly. We comment at others very easily. We gossip mongering. We talk about others. We comment at others. We do character assassination. What is the use? The words have no meaning. But when you have contact with golden light, your whole voice becomes divine. Tune, the whole voice, your tune becomes divine. And the words that you utter are like immortal wine. Tasty. Tasty. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, satyam apriyam na bruyat. There is a statement in Sanskrit. I know only 4 or 5 Sanskrit quotations. I use them now and then, whenever I recollect it. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, let me tell it very clearly. But some Sanskrit, at least half a dozen to dozen, 20 Sanskrit slokas I get, and I make use of them to inspire students whenever I get it. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, satyam apriyam na bruyat. Tell truth. Satyam bruyat, tell truth. Priyam bruyat, tell truth in a palatable way. Satyam apriyam na bruyat, don't tell unpalatable truth. What an idea. Words should have value. Words should carry value. We commented this, we commented that person. We fight with neighbors. I'm not generalizing. I'm not talking about you. You are all good people. Generally, the way of the world I'm talking of. Always, most of the time we spend hating others. We spend talking of others. How sad it is. So, dear friends, the golden light, when it falls on mind, it gives calm illumination. Illumination, light and calmness. It gives you calmness. That is the touch when you have God. When you go to Dakshineshwar, when you sit in the presence of Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Ramakrishna Math here at Domalguda. When you go to Ramakrishna Math at Domalguda, where I worked for more than 10 years, you sit in front of that idol, Sri Ramakrishna. My God, you become calm illumination. A flame will come in you. The divine light of Sri Ramakrishna falls on you. The divine, not only Sri Ramakrishna, you go to Allah, you go to a mosque, you sit in mosque for some time. A calm illumination falls on you. You go to church, you go to confession, you take up confession. A calm illumination comes. You become unperturbed, totally involved. You have no other problem at all. What wonderful life is. That is Indian life. That is Indian life. We have so many Punya Kshetras. We have so many pilgrimage centers. That is the power of India. Mera Bharat Mahan. Why do people say that? People say that Mera Bharat Mahan, Mera America Mahan. Nobody says it. However wealthy that country may be. Mera Bharat Mahan. We say it. We say it because the power of God can transform you. Here the power of God has transformed. It fell on the brain, a calm illumination and a flame. Flame I told you 100 times because there is a darkness in us. We are all ignorant people. We care for paper certificates. We care for wealth. We care for property, owning property. We care for amassing wealth. But that is not so. When the golden light falls on your brain, first of all, brain is important. You may ask me a question, sir, why it falls on. Am I audible?
Sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. When the brain falls, why brain? You may ask me a question. Sir, why golden light? Why did he say of brain? Brain is important. Right thought, right way, right thought. When you have good sadbuddhi, if you have sadbuddhi, you can do anything. We pray to God, give me buddhi, sadbuddhi, give me good way of life, give me good thoughts. A good thought can make wonders. That's why the golden light he falls. He wants the Sri Aurobindo wants the golden light to fall on his brain because it gives a calm illumination. Calm. It is not calm. You should never read calm, disturbed. No, absolutely. A calm illumination, a meditative mood, a calm illumination, a meditative mood, and a flame in you. Flame means remover of ignorance. Remover of ignorance. What a lovely poem this is. This is a fantastic poem. I'm telling you, this is a fantastic poem. The divine light, it should you. All of us should pray every day this poem. Oh God, give me good thoughts. Let your golden light fall on my brain and I will get calm illumination and flame. Let it fall on my throat next. After brain, throat. Look at the sequence. Look at the sequence. To write a poem, he did not write a poem haphazardly. He has written a poem in a strategic way. He has written the poem in a very strategic manner. Writing a poem is not, I look at you, you look at me. That is not a poem. A poem is writing in a proper fashion, executing it in a proper manner. There is a method. Shakespeare says there is a method in madness in Hamlet, but there is a method in writing a poem as well. There is a method in writing a poem. A poem should not be scribbled. As Wordsworth says, spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility is a poem. Wordsworth says, recollection of tranquility, recollection of the original ideas recollected in tranquility. That's what Shakespeare says. That's what That's what Wordsworth says. So poetry, writing a poetry is in an order, in a sequence. Look at this sequence. First, the divine light falls on brain, a calm illumination and light. Now a throat. Once it falls on throat, his voice becomes divine. The tune, no disturbance, no disturbance. Now, the golden light came into my throat and all my speech is now. Madam, don't disturb. Madam, don't disturb, please. Now next the golden light fall. First the golden light fell on where?
Brain, sir.
Mind. Then after the golden light fell on mind, it gave wisdom and
Light.
Flame.
calm illumination and
Flame, sir.
flame. Calm illumination. You should say calm illumination. Next it falls on throat. Once it falls on throat, his voice becomes divine. And his voice becomes divine. And his words are drink of immortal wine. All the words that come out of him, because this is all because of his proximity with the golden light. He's praying for the golden light. He's seeking golden light. Underline, he's seeking golden light. Sri Aurobindo is in pursuit of golden light. He's in pursuit of golden light. Once the golden light falls on the throat, his words become immortal wine, deathless wine. So tasty they are. Deathless, eternal, immortal wine. What a wonderful idea. Next, the golden light came down into my heart. First, brain. Next, throat. Next, heart. The golden light came down into my heart, smiting it with thy eternity. Now has it grown a temple where they were, and all passions points towards only thee. Beautiful, beautiful. Now next it falls on the heart. Once once the golden light falls on the heart becomes a temple. And the whole of once it becomes, the golden light falls on heart, it becomes a temple. The heart becomes a temple. And it is directed only towards God. Once the heart becomes temple, if the heart is after money, on the first of every month, the heart is for salary. But here he says the golden light first falls on brain, next falls on throat, next falls on heart. When it falls on heart, what happens? Wonderful. The whole of who is disturbing? Who is disturbing? Who is disturbing? Please, I beg you not to disturb me. The golden light came down into my heart. Then the golden light came down. First it came into brain. Next it came into throat. Once it came into throat, his voice became tuned divine. And the words have become immortal wine. Next it falls on heart. And once it falls on heart, it becomes a temple. Look at that. What a transformation of the body because of the golden light. We all should seek this golden light. We all should seek this golden light. We pray to God, oh God, give me this, give me this, give me this. But this should be the prayer. This should be our prayer. Whatever caste we may, whatever religion we may belong to, we should pray God only for this. Give me, go God, fall on my brain. Give your golden light on your brain. Touch my brain. Access to my brain. Have proximity with my brain. Let your golden light, let your divine light fall on my brain. It becomes calm illumination and a flame. Let it fall on my throat. Then my voice becomes tuned divine. And my words will come from immortal wine. Next it fall on heart. Once the divine light, once the golden light falls on heart, the heart transforms into a temple. And the goal of the temple is aimed towards God, seeking God. Let the golden light fall on the heart. Third point, let the golden light fall on the heart. Once it falls on the heart, it grows a temple. And the temple is, the goal of the temple is only to seek God. Wonderful idea. Wonderful idea. When it falls on heart, it becomes a temple. When it falls on a heart, when the golden light falls on the heart, it becomes temple. And once it becomes temple, all the passions point out towards thee. All my whole life is dedicated towards you. Is dedicated towards you. Wonderful. Next, last, the golden light came down into my feet. First it came into mind. First it came into brain. Second it came into throat. Third it came into heart. Once it came into heart, it became a temple. Now it came into feet. Let the golden light came into my feet. My earth is now the playfield of thy feet. Oh God, now let the golden light fall on my feet. And the whole of this earth becomes your playground. It becomes your area. When the golden light falls on the feet, the whole of this area, wherever we are moving, it's all God's world. It's all the blissful world. It's all the blissful world of the God. Oh God, let the golden light fall on my feet. And once the golden light falls on my feet, once the golden light falls on my feet, the earth becomes a playground of thy seat. It is all yours. It is all your world that I'll be moving into. Now, right now, page number 53. Who will read summary? Page number 53. Who will read summary?
May I read, sir?
Please, madam, please. Page number 53, summary.
The golden light comes down from heaven to his brain, an inspiration, an illumination, his spiritual birth and growth. It touches the throat and a song breaks out in divine tunes. It ascends unto his heart, and the heart transforms into a temple where it descends into his heart and the heart transforms into a temple where all its passions point only to the divine light. It finally comes into his feet and the entire earth becomes the playfield of God. Image after image stresses the vision of the poet in a marvelous way. When light is there, there is no room for darkness. Light is another sonnet in which Sri Aurobindo says that life's ignorant gulfs gives up their secrecies at once. As soon as the light of divine knowledge touches it, it opens the mysterious doors of the Holy Land. Darkness and light are seen as related symbols and are presented as advancement in the depth and intensity of the symbols, as light dawns upon the dark abyss of the reader's mind and illuminates it. Oro has established remarkable perfection in the physical itself, it opening to the flood of brilliant light. His brain was wrapped in overwhelming light, that is, the physical mind receiving the supernatural, that is, the mind of light, thus attaining the Siddhi by Sri Aurobindo. This may be considered as a significant transformation of the physical facet into the spiritual.
That's it. That's it. Continue, madam. Continue.
On this day, the supernatural light and consciousness and force appeared dynamically and luminously upon the earth's playfield. Aurobindo's sonnets are one kind of expression of his spiritual consciousness, in which thought sublimates into a translucidity, light and vision. Feeling passes beyond into sheer spiritual ecstasy, and the word rarefies into a pure voice out of silence. Because of his translucidity, there is no need here for symbol or image or metaphor. Line after line of the sonnets flow without effort, simply and easily, without a word in excess or any laying on of color, only just the necessary. There is not only a further expansion of consciousness, but there is at the same time a closer and more intense identity of his self with the self of man and with the inner truth of things in the universe. The sonnets relate to the sense of his pervasive consciousness. The supernatural consciousness has become a glow with incandescence. The golden light came down into my throat, smiting my life with thy eternity. Thy golden light came down into my feet. My earth is now thy playfield and thy seat. Aurobindo talks to God and his omniscient presence directly. He has developed the spiritual self within him to confront the eternal being of brightness and light. This poem is a beautiful transcending of the poet's soul that transcends the mortal body and goes into the immortal world of its divine creator. There is a sense of great wideness or vastness, a universality of vision, a bridging of heaven and earth. The human self becomes one with the universal self, embracing all life in the divine light. According to Oro, in mystic poetry, there need not always be a symbol to serve as a vehicle of thought and experience. Simple words would do so as they bring up a vivid suggestion of the thing seen and some significance of the form, movement, etc., through which one can get at the life behind and its meaning. Another important feature in Oro's poetry, which reinforces the intensity and authenticity of the poetic moment, is his adherence to meter. He strongly believed that the emotion expresses itself best and most powerfully in a balanced rather than in a loose and shapeless rhythm. Should I continue, sir? Or
Okay, madam. Now hello.
yes, sir.
What is, I will ask you one question, 2 or 3 questions, not to you, to all the students. Thank you, madam. You have read wonderfully.
Thank you, sir.
Your pronunciation is really excellent, perfect, impeccable pronunciation. We say pronunciation is impeccable, excellent. We don't say impeccable pronunciation. Thank you for helping me out. I was actually having sneezing. Now I am all right, perfectly all right. I will take up next poem. But before I take up next poem, let me ask few questions, not to you, to all the students, who anybody can answer. What is the name of the poem that we have discussed just now?
The Golden Lights.
It is written by?
Sri Aurobindo.
When do you need light?
When our heart is
Want to come up
When we are in darkness.
when we're in
When we are in darkness. When we are in darkness, that was the period when Britishers were ruling us. That point also you should remember. That was the period when he wrote this poem. We were ruled by British. We were ruled by Britishers. That was the period when we were ruled by Britishers also. So, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are.
Okay. When we were ruled by Britishers, so he wants light among people. Oh, people, come on, rebel. Know your strength. Come on, rebel against Britishers. People say that Aurobindo did not participate in freedom struggle. No, he participated. Tagore also participated. They participated through their writings. Chandalika, he wrote. Tagore wrote Chandalika. Chandalika is a play, is a dance drama which was written simultaneously when Sri Ambedkar ji was talking about the annihilation of the caste. When Periyar movement was there, when Jyotirao Phule was there. So people work according to their own. Some people take rifles and fight. Some people will not take rifles and fight, but they take pen. Pen is mightier than sword. Pen is mightier than sword. So Sri Aurobindo worked. He's a revolutionary turned saint. He was jailed for several years because he was a revolutionary. So friends, here, what is he seeking for in this poem?
divine light.
Very good. Divine light or the golden light. You say golden light in exam. In exam, you write golden light. In brackets, you write divine light. In exam, you write golden light first, and in bracket, you write divine light. First, the divine light falls on what?
On the brain.
Brain.
On the mind.
Second, it falls on.
Heart.
On the throat.
Throat.
Third, it falls on.
Heart.
On the heart.
Finally, it falls on.
Feet.
When it falls on feet, the whole of the when the golden light falls on the feet, the whole of the ground becomes the field of the God. Wherever you move, it is God. Some people, when they get up in the morning, they pray to God, they pray to earth, and they put their feet. Some people, when they get up in the morning, they don't put their feet immediately on the ground. they touch, they pray to ground. They pray to ground to give permission to put the feet. And then they step on the ground. So this is a philosophy, Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy is a great philosophy. That's why once the golden light touches the feet, the whole of the universe becomes God's field. The whole of the universe becomes God's field. Wherever he goes, he is seeing God. Wherever he goes, he is seeing God. Touching God, he sees trees. It is nothing but God. He sees plants. It is nothing but God. What an idea it is. Touching brain, calm illumination. Touching calm illumination and flame. Touching throat, then true tune divine. And the words come out from immortal wine. Immortal wine. Next, it touches heart. It becomes a temple. And all temple and all his passions are devoted to God. Once it becomes temple means the whole of once the golden light falls on that heart, the heart becomes a temple, a sanctum sanctorum, and only the passions are devoted to God. Finally, it falls on feet, and when it falls on feet, the whole of the world becomes God's place. Thank you, friends. Now we